We'll stay with the Northwest this time. Governor of Kebbi State, Nasser Idris, has sent a delegation to the Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Defense Staff, I should say, General Christopher Musa, to help address the rising threat of the new Islamic sect, Lukarawa, whose recent attacks have claimed 15 lives in the state. In a statement by spokesperson or Chief Press Secretary, that's Mr. Mohammed Idris, the delegation led by former governor of the state and current Minister of Economic Planning, Atiku Bagudu, includes Senator Bala Ibrahim Nahalla, the National Organizing Secretary of the APC, Suleiman Agongo, and former Commissioner of Justice and Attorney General of the state, Barrister Nasiru Junju. The move is to ensure that the intended proliferation of the terrorist group is stopped as soon as possible. Meanwhile, the Kebbi state government says it donated 50 million naira to the victims of the terror attack in Mera community of Oje local government area of the state. Well, the issue of Kebbi State and the rising threats of a new terrorist organization in the Northwest region is our focus today on the program. I'm being joined by the PDP Publicity Secretary in Kebbi State, Mr. Sani Dododo, joins us via Zoom. Mr. Dododo, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right, let's get up to an update of what exactly you're hearing on ground. The last time we heard was that attack in Mera community where 15 lives were claimed. From where you sit, I know you're in the opposition, but what are the facts available to you as a death toll increase, or what exactly are you seeing before we go further deep into the conversation?
Well, honestly speaking, first and foremost, we have to again send our condolence to all the people of our local government, particularly Mera community, for losing about 17 lives of their members of the community. And what on the ground is that the issue of security, which has now reared or put its head off in this area, that is the issue of Lakurawa. This is a new set of banditry, which is new to us. And when the report came, immediately 24 hours out of the Brevard Defense Headquarters, this people come on Friday and start operating in Mera. So our position is that we want government both at national and the state to look at the security architecture and put more effort, put more resources to curtail this before it be out of hands. Now, in a situation, first attempt to lose about 17 lives, honestly speaking, is too grave. Now, we are appealing to the government to put all the necessary measures, to take all the necessary steps to make sure that these people will not have established their permanent, camp in Kebbi State. Because when it happens, nobody knows where it will end. So our position as an opposition party is appealing to the government of Kebbi State and the federal government in particular to put more resources, to put more manpower, to put more security agencies in at least the border towns bordering these countries. That is Niger, Cameroon, Mali, and Libya, so that the influx of this banditry will be curtailed before it will be out of hand.
So I know that Kebbi is not a very rich state compared to other states in terms of resources available to them. What are you seeing the government doing? I know the PDP is raising concerns and even criticizing the government for embarking on trips rather than staying at home to tackle the challenges of the state. Before we get to issues of economy and all of that, what you are calling for the government to do something, but what are they doing besides sending the SOS to the CDS to say, look, before these guys take roots on our soil, we need them to be rooted out. Besides that, what other action across those communities and across communities in those areas that are affected are you seeing the government making a move to curtail this?
Well, like you said earlier, we have even said earlier in our own bulletin that the foreign trips by government official, particularly the executive governor and his team, is not helping matters. Now we have problem. Security problem is not supposed to be politicized. So we are not to make it as a political angle. We are looking at this in a serious issue where all hands must be on deck. So like you said earlier, the little resources Kebbi has are not supposed to be start spending it unnecessarily on other issues that are not relevant, to the benefit of the masses of Kebbi State, particularly the issue of security. Now, if the environment is not secure, why are you expecting the investors to come and invest? So for you to tell me that you are out looking for investors, first and foremost, make the conducive atmosphere, make the environment secure, so that the investor will come and invest. Because I know what they will say that they are making that trip in order to go and invite the investors to come. Now, you are going to invite the investors to come, but you are not making all the necessary arrangements to secure the environment for the investors to come and invest. So, I mean, the issue here is that we are calling on the people to cut the unnecessary spending, of the mega resources we have in Kebbi State. What you have, use it judiciously. Cut all other unnecessary, expenditure.
Okay.
Make sure that at least 50% of what you are spending is reserved and dedicated to the security.
All right,
so that people, their property, and life will be secured.
All right, Mr. Dododo, let's even move further. And this is a general concern, especially in the northern part of the country. The Northwest has 7 states, the biggest region in the country. But that area, I'm talking about the North, seems to be an easy breeding ground for things like terrorism and all of this banditry. So in your view, and I'm happy that when you're making your statement, although you're a member of the PDP and the APC is in government, you said, look, this is not politics. Let's talk about security of lives and property. That is more, I like that particular statement you made. So let's look at what are the enablers for terrorists to be able to come into states like Kebbi and other states in the north easily, because we hardly have terrorists coming down to the south. It's common in the north. In your assessment, what is going on?
Well, if you look at the proximity or geographical location of Kebbi State, Kebbi State bordered Niger Republic, it also bordered Benin Republic, it also bordered Cameroon to the extent. So by and large, the proximity of the border is allowing the influx of this boundary to come from the neighboring countries. But the question here is, why our security agencies like immigration and customs, who are in charge of border security, are able to arrest people with smuggling of PMS, that's petroleum products and other products, rice and the rest. But they cannot arrest a single, a bandit. You are able to arrest people with rice, smugglers with the petroleum products, but up to this moment, there is no single arrest. But it's either the immigration officers who are in charge of the border, or the customs who are in charge of movement of goods and services from one place to another. So you see, the question here is that there is no synergy between, to understand it. We may likely be, we may be wrong to some people, but this is our own view. If you look at it, it means there is no synergy between the immigrations, officers, between the custom, and then the police, then by and large, and the military. But we are calling on the government to review the security architecture so that this can be checkmate. Because Kebbi State, like I said, look at the geographical location of it, the proximity of our border can make it easily for this boundary to come in and out. Now, if you look at the border between Iowa local government, that's Kankiyo Agassiz, down to Dundee local government, which is also Kamba Agassiz, go to Dola Kena, which is also has common border with the Niger. Then also come down to Gudu, which is bordering Sokoto and the Kebbi, from Gudu to Tangaza, then from Tangaza to Borabawa. All these areas, the local government are on the border.
All right, Mr. Just a moment. Just a moment.
For the boundary to easily come into this Sokoto and Kebbi.
Just a moment. So I see that you're saying, look, the expanse of land, the unmanned borders, and we've talked about borders in Nigeria and how a lot of them are you're just a stone throw from another country, just walk across freely in some of these places. Two questions before I let you go. First question will be, how much of community engagement is required to help in curbing the activities of insurgents? Because if they don't provide information, we spoke to Arawa Consultative Forum, the National Publicity Secretary, and he did mention the fact that some of these people come by force. It's not safe they come by espionage and people can know who they are and then be able to report they come by force. That's on one hand, how much of community effort and engagement is required. That's on one hand. The other hand is, does this call for the institution of state police as quickly as possible so that people can protect themselves at the end of the day?
Okay, look, if you look at the historical background of northern states, particularly Kebbi, Sokoto, Zamfara, and the rest, traditional rulers are playing fundamental role in securing since the time immemorial. But very unfortunately, these traditional rulers are now regulated down. They are supposed to be now called on board. Because before, if a stranger comes into a village, he will be immediately identified. But now, because our power is not all that as it was before, now they are not directly involved in the issue of security. So now there's need for that culture and that historical security got to come back again. That's why we call it NSAK now. NSAK are now helping a lot because the number of security personnel we have in the country, both military and the police, cannot accommodate, cannot take care of the influx of the banditry in Nigeria, especially in the northern part of the country, because of the number of this police and the military. So the issue is that let the security agencies, the government, that is police, military, custom, immigration, come and engage, the services of traditional rulers. Tap on their experience. Take them, carry them along. Let them be on board in the issue of security. Inshallah, by the grace of God, if this is taken seriously, it can checkmate the issue of security in the northern part of the country. Secondly, the issue we are talking about, what are we saying? The second question?
I know I mentioned the fact that community cooperation on one hand, the other one state police. We have just 30 seconds.
Okay,
state police.
No, honestly speaking, I am not in support of state police. If you look at the nature of our political capital in Nigeria, now look at it. We have the national police, central police, which is controlled by the Inspector of Police. But whenever it comes to the issue of election matters, those who are in control of government will use security to intimidate the opposition.
Okay.
So if now this is happening now with central police as the federal control, now what more of if police, state police are created?
Okay.
Then they will really then to intimidate and harass the opposition. So I'm not in support of the state police. That is the only issue. But I didn't say that we can sanitize the system. We will not allow corruption. We will not allow sentiment. We will not allow segregation. Well, it will be a welcome development. But in a situation of Nigeria as it is today, I am not supporting the state police.
Mr. Sanio Dododo is the PDP publicity secretary in Kebbi State. Was supposed to also be joined by the Commissioner for Information, but Okudung is not available to join us. Was supposed to be here. But I must thank you, Mr. Dododo, for coming on the program, and we wish that peace will return to those parts of the states in Kebbi, so that these terrorists will not hold ground. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.